Alright, so I decided that I would make an updated video about the wall sconce. The other videos, while they work just fine, several years old, and one of the things that I do is when I create the low poly, I divide it up into a much more optimized mesh so that you're only using as few and as little geometry as possible to be very efficient for the UV layout. That worked fine back in those days. Today, UV space isn't quite the premium that it was. And if you're going to use an application such as Substance Painter or something that really wants unique UVs for a model, you'll find that having the complete model exist for a low poly is much more helpful. So what I decided to do was revisit the wall sconce. So here's the high poly from the tutorial, or I should say the high poly cage. So you can see here I have all the edges creased. The detail and geometry is all in place. What I've gone ahead and done is I've created the layers. So here's the high, and it's on its own layer. And then I went ahead and took the high and subdivided it. So if I turn on wireframe, you'll see that it is all nice and subdivided. So it's ready to go, ready to be baked. I decided just to do this so it was already squared away, ready to go. This would be what we would want to use as our source mesh. So what I wanted to do is, I'll go ahead and hide this, is take the high, and what I've done is go ahead and duplicate this. So it's been shifted over -7. Let's just go ahead and make that an even number. So I'll just do a -8. So it's already been duplicated over. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the high, and this is what I want to focus on as far as doing a poly reduction and optimization, and then UV layout so that it's ready to bake. So first thing is, let's go to the edge mode, and where I've used all these creases, mesh tools, crease, just get rid of all that. There we go. I can see things a little bit better. Alright, so a lot of this is already fairly optimized to the point that really don't have to worry about it too much. Some of this fencing probably could be Command Delete Backspace or Command Delete. Go ahead and get rid of the vertexes and the edges. Control Delete, Command Delete, whichever version you're using, whether it's Windows or Mac. Go ahead and get rid of that. This inner edge loop here. Let's see here, can I turn symmetry? Let's try Object X on. Yeah, alright. So that edge doesn't need it. Don't need that one. Don't need that one. Double checking around. This one could be pulled in. Get rid of that. One thing I'm actually going to do here, let's do ourselves a favor, and because we're working on this sort of as a per section thing, I'm going to go ahead and pull the model apart just a little bit so that I can see each piece from 360. So that's hollow on the inside. Have a lot of extra geometry up top here. This edge here really isn't doing much. Go ahead and get rid of that. Nor are you. And so that would reduce that one down. I'm going to leave this because that's a pretty prominent curve. Although this edge here isn't really doing much. And so that dials this down a lot. These edges, go ahead and get rid of that. what those are doing. Get rid of that as well. That'll work okay. This could be welded together. No problem there as well. So for example, go to vertex mode. Just going to select all 4 of these, and let's go back to the modeling toolkit. And then we have our merge, and I'll just a little bit more. There we go. So adjust that threshold to the point that it'll weld itself together. And then we can use target weld. Pull these guys in here, here, there. Actually, let's do center. Messed up that line. That. Undo for a moment. There we go, center points. Yeah, all right, now we're getting someplace. All right, target weld, like so. Target weld, like so. Now, I mean, that's very optional, but what I did was I'm still holding on to the major shape, but just reduce the poly count down a good bit. You could probably tighten some of this stuff up as well, but this looks pretty okay. As far as these details, these round spheres, the normal map will carry all that detail, so I might as well just go ahead and get rid of these. We'll worry about that kind of at a later point. Down here with this guy, so that edge, and delete. Just cut that bevel off like that, like that, like that, like that. And I could do some more changes on this. So for example, on the inside here, either one of those could go, and that would change the shape like that. As a matter of fact, and alternatively, do something like this, all the way to reducing it down to something like that. Or you can take it from the other way and do something along those lines. It really just depends. Or you could leave the middle edge here and delete the edges like that. Or you could still, go ahead and leave a little bit of a bevel there. But the normal map is really going to be what's going to create that transition. So you don't have to worry that much about leaving these edges or not. Generally speaking, an outside is going to be more valuable than the inside, because the inside, if we look at the silhouette, so if I look at the silhouette of the object here, you're really not going to be able to see that transition right on the inside, whereas on the outside you'll be able to see more of that transition. Let's go back to more front line shaded. So up here, that's good. That's all been reduced down. I might reduce around the outside, but I think I'll just leave it. I'm not trying to make ultra low poly here, just to kind of optimize things a little bit. Okay, so this, All I really want is the main face there. This edge loop can go away. That edge loop can go away. We're left with something that looks like that. Delete. I'm selecting that outside edge, so I don't want to disturb it. Select here. Whoop. Delete that. That. Okay, so that'll work. As a matter of fact, if I'm holding on to symmetry, I could technically get rid of these midway dividers, but I'm going to hold on to them just for reference. It'd be a few extra polys, but unless I was designing this for running on an iPhone 1, I don't think it'll be that much of an issue. Get rid of that because it doesn't have any kind of edge effect. And then we still have some edge bevels here. I can get rid of. Check my sides. That one's clean. This one's clean. This one's clean. This one still needs a little bit of TLC. So we'll go in, select this. I'll just kind of manually do this one. Save myself a little double clicking. Delete all those edges. This one on the inside here, it can go away. Looking pretty good so far. Now as far as this bevel here, we have a fencing on the inside. That can disappear. And I've got this bevel on the outside. I think I'm going to take it versus, well, let's see. Let's see what this angle looks like. So this is basically flat. If it had curved in a little bit more, I would say take this one out. But I think because this one's flatter, it will work better to be removed. Or I could just leave them. But I think it'll... My theory is that it will hold that edge just fine. Does leave me a little issue here, so what I can do is go to target weld. We'll go to target vertex. That one's already connected. There, that one's already connected. There we go. All right. So next face. So this inner bevel. Get rid of that. Rid of that. Target weld again. To there. Yep. Right to there, and that looks all set. This one's still got a border, and that one's cleaned up. So, edge mode one more time. Control delete that. And delete that. Do not want to delete that whole edge loop. I do want to delete that. And then we'll go to vertex, target well one last time on this. Just attach these together. Let's see what happened. So that loop's kind of missing. Not the end of the world. Really don't need all of this stuff up top anyway. Yeah, that edge is not doing much. Get rid of that. And then I'm just going to say OK. As far as the bevel that's holding up the sides on here, I could get rid of that, but I'm going to leave it. Just a couple extra polys. It's not really going to hurt a lot. It comes all the way down to this, and now this is a little bit of a mess. So what I'm going to do here is get rid of that edge loop there. And just take these edge loops here, kind of get rid of them. Yeah, looking much better. So the shape is still holding. All I'm doing is, again, reducing the poly count where I can. This, because all these are edges holding this shape, I'm not going to touch them. And then that brings us down to the bottom down here. So one of the things I can do is something like that, and then do a merge vertices. Matter of fact, I wonder if, go to face mode, and then select all this like that, right? So I have all these interfaces selected. Hold down Alt, hold down Shift, Control, and right click, and then I can go to 2 vertices and then 2 vertices, and that will select this whole inner box, right? So it's in face mode, hold down Control, right click, and I can convert that selection into the vertexes. Then I can hit the merge button. And as I slowly move that over, it's going to merge all the vertices that within a certain distance of each other, to the point that it would all pull them all to the middle. I'm going to step 1 back from that, so they end up with something that looks like this, and just call that good. I could, weld some more together, but I think that'll be just fine. Well, yeah, sure. That'll work. That'll do, pig. All right, so all this shape is set up here. That's part of that detail that we would have. Now, I'm not going to lie, the detail when smooth is going to be rounded, whereas that's going to be kind of a square point. So I could leave this shape and it should bake out okay. This might be something to come back and readjust. So if it doesn't bake quite right, we could remove this whole strip and just make it flat again, and that would bake just fine too. Do the same thing up here. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave that so that the normal map can bake along these edges, and then it'll be flat planes in the middle. So that'll work for that shape. So let's go to the back plate here. So back plate. Truthfully, this object may not even need a back polygon depending upon how it's going to be set up, but normally something's going to be stuck to a wall. You can just eliminate that. This edge here can go away. This edge here can go away. So I'm kind of undoing all those nice bevels that were applied to the object in order to give it its round shape. I'm basically just going through and removing. Alternatively, if you had saved a version of your model before you beveled, you could go back through and just about use that model to get some of this done. Now Maya does have now a poly reduce. So if we go to object mode, do a mesh and reduce, we can adjust that and see what sort of effect it's going to give me. So that's 56%. Let's keep going a little bit. There we go, 74%. Not bad. I'll go ahead and I'll use that. So you can see it's left the bevels in a couple of places, but it's cleaned up all the extra geometry in those areas. As far as the back side here, we have all sorts of kind of strange edge things going on. Any extra floating vertices? Nope, not much. So back to edges. That should pretty well take care of that. And then if you're worried about n-gons, you can always come back and triangulate it. So bevel, and then it's been reduced. Now what happened with you? Why does that have a round angle to it? So I went and this is cut, but I just had to undo some stuff. So apparently when I took care of this, it shifted everything down so that it had a round top. So what I have to do is be mindful not to eliminate this edge loop here. Now that one's fine, but leave that because this is an extra wide bevel, but I want to make sure to leave that flat top. Let's eliminate that one. That should have us back about where we were. Inside there. These guys here, so that one and that one. Looking at that profile edge. You and you. Go away. Get rid of that. Definitely can get rid of that. It's funny how the top half and the bottom half a little different work. Delete, delete. Believe that was a mistake from the poly reduce. You have to be careful when you do again auto magic sort of things. It can remove things that you don't necessarily want to be removed, or change things in a way that you would have manually caught. It's one of the things that when I double click, I make sure every time when I double click to select an edge loop, I delete. I kind of want to check again on everything to make sure that that did not affect something I did not want it to affect. But most of these seem to be terminating at that halfway point, so it should be just fine. Okay, so perfect example. I want this loop here, but when I do, it sent a loop all the way down this, and I need to hold on to that bevel. So I'll hold on to that. This will be okay. And go back to edge mode one last time. Okay, so this loop's coming through there. Boom, boom. Yeah, leave you, leave you. That's a perfect case of a target weld. There you go, something like that. And something that's another good habit to get into is I go to vertex mode and just select everything, hit delete. If there's any free vertices from where I deleted an edge and I forgot to close off the vertexes, that'll tell me what's going on. So the back here, we will rock you. There you go, something like that. We have in the back here too. Okay, edge. Delete that. Welded, welded, welded. Yep. And so that gives me a pretty clean, low poly on that side of things. Top model. Okay, yeah, this is picture perfect for what's the word? Picture perfect for what I've already kind of done. So every other edge. This is where symmetry is also very, very helpful. So leaving that symmetry on. Yeah, looks like I got a double right there. You know what? It's going to be just fine. So Command delete on that. That relieves me of half the edges that go around the side there. I could almost do another pass. Like so, but that might reduce it down a little bit too much. We'll leave it here for the moment. So let's go to edge. And let's look at the side view here, right? So not a lot of angle change there. Not a lot of angle change there. Curve, 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 curve. Mellows back out again. Curve, curve, curve. Mellow out again. Yeah, that would work. This one, yeah, you don't count. Do something like that. Let me switch to. Come here. There we go. All right. Yeah, orthographic. Orthographic for the win. All right, so that's just fine. This one here, never going to see that. I'm going to go ahead and take that one away as well. Sure. So big curve areas, hold on to the geometry. Little curve areas, it doesn't really matter all that much. I'll leave those. Very flat area, I'll have to look at that again from perspective view. Let's keep that. Yep. That's no curve at all. And this middle guy here, that's a bit of a change. This one I'll get rid of. Okay, no change with you. Very little change with you. And then we have that. So back to perspective. And so this whole flat disk area, go ahead and get rid of that. Go ahead and get rid of that. I could probably optimize this thing down more, but this is a pretty good start for a round object. And given its size, how small it's going to be, this could definitely be reduced even further down from that as a future thing. If I'm going to redo anything, I'm going to take this edge right here, because that's right up there next to the point, and I'm going to pull it up and reduce it in a little bit. Let me turn symmetry off, so I have that centered. All I want to do is create a little bit more of a more gentle curve as it goes up to that point. All right, so that's that top spot. Bottom's done, side's done, back's done, top's done, doodad's done. Cylinder. You can go away, you can go away, you can go away, you can go away. And yeah, if I really want to get polyreducing, I can tidy that up some more too, but we'll just leave that at the moment. Now I have this very strange, well, it's the bottom one. So again, this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge. All right, so you're done. And now I have, oh, let's finish these last little doodads here too. So let's actually see what happens. Let's try the reduce. 50%. Oh, that destroyed it. But you know what? That might not actually be the worst shape. We really don't need that information that is in the middle of the bolt, because that's a convex shape or concave shape. So yeah, mesh, reduce, crank on that, hold that silhouette, boom. That's very optimized. I like it. 2 clicks. So now we have this two-parter, and just like I've done with the other ones, turn symmetry, object X. Yep, that's exactly what I want. I want every other line. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, I'll leave that. Q, object mode, this one. All right, so let's go to edge. Yep. Leave that one. Let's look at that profile, right? So not a lot of change there. That's good. That rounds into that side. Is that the outside? No, that is not. So this can go away. That can go away. That can go away. We'll just kind of keep, so that's the center. Yep. We'll do it that way. And so that leaves me with something that looks like this and this. All right, so let's keep going. No, that'll count. So I'm looking at anything along. So that's a pretty extreme curve there. This one actually doesn't have a lot along, because the curvature is so extreme with this one. There's not a lot along the profile that I would say you could really get rid of without really affecting the shape. So I'm just going to leave those. Maybe this guy, let's see. No, just going to leave it. Let that be what it is. And then this shape here. This one, I can already say, is much more dense on the geometry. So as I'm definitely working on the more gentle curve side of things, I'm going to remove what I can. Yep, like that. Yep. Still holding a really nice profile. That might could go, but we'll leave it since it's right on the point. So then that's that. And if I was to do anything, what we'll do is come on to, let's go to vertex mode, hit 4. You see that there's this. Hit R just a little bit, and then definitely more. Hit 5 so that that is completely inside the other shape. Yep. This is where symmetry off. Looks a little better. There we go. Yeah, something like that. So, boom, boom. This plus this. Let's do a mesh Boolean union. So now we have just one model instead of the 2 sections, which is what we would want to use in the first place. See what we can do with, let's try the lazy work version first. Let's go with this, and then we'll do a merge, and just, 4-1, way too much, so let's do 0.2. Yep, so 0.2, nope, let's try a 0.05. Hey. Still might be a little bit much. All right, so let's do a 0.025. Okay, so that honestly, that's not a bad start. We'll go ahead and let's just vertex mode. Turn symmetry X back on to save us a little bit of work. The whole idea here is just to kind of police some things together. So remember that, you know, Booleans can make a mess. That's just kind of the nature of the way that they work. Yeah, that'll work. And now for, let's play with our zoom. That can be merged. That can be merged. Oh, undo. I don't want to chamfer, I want to merge. So all that can work. Target weld again. Pull that and that, and then that together. And I have a floating face way out here I'll pull it in, and then we'll multi-cut to what I'll do is this, to that. And that'll create a little bit of geometry along that side, and that'll create geometry on that side. Weld that together. I wish the symmetry had worked, but it's okay. Target weld, center. You and you become best friends, and then you can tag along with that guy. Oops, wrong way. Target. There you go. Ha. I don't need you anymore, and then you don't need you anymore, and look at that. It's all nice and kind of clean and hooked up and all worked in together. Honestly, this is now optional. Sure. Yeah, I'll leave it. Any sort of a mess down here? Yes, of course there's a mess down here. Let's target weld. You. Just checking the geometry a little bit. Multi-cut this guy and that guy. All right. So that piece is welded. And all the parts and pieces for the low poly are now complete. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video at this point. I know what you are, but you're going to go away. And the next video I will lay the UVs back out on this, on these new low poly objects.